Hey everyone, it's Wendy Hutchinson with The Path of Me and Alinea Life Coaching. I wanted to talk to you all today about the correlation between not accepting what's happening in your life and suffering. There's a direct correlation. So when we have something happening that's really triggering us emotionally in our lives, it's creating a lot of anxiety or stress or depression or anger or any kind of lower vibrational emotions, just you feel really churned up about something. And there's a sliding scale of that, right? It's like, wow, I'm really mad because I'm sitting in traffic, or I'm totally betrayed because my spouse cheated on me or something. I mean, there's such a huge gamut of experience, right? Where we feel a lot of emotion and we resist what's happening in our lives. So basically we are resisting our current reality, and those emotions are getting churned up because of it. So the first thing I want to talk about is what's full and pure acceptance. Pure acceptance is where something is happening in your life and you accept it completely. So mind, body, and soul, you fully accept the reality happening in your life. That could mean you accept that you're sitting in traffic every day on your way to work and on your way home. Or it can be accepting that someone in your family is not doing what you want them to do and they're going to live their own life. Or accepting that you're going to show up at Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner and Uncle Joe's going to be completely wasted. There's all these things that trigger us in life, right? And even though sometimes we know they're a given and it's a fact and it's happening, we still resist it. We still think by getting angry about it, it's going to change the circumstance. And guess what? I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen at all. So the first thing I want to talk about is, what is acceptance? It's just acknowledging what's happening or what has happened. It's maybe accepting something in your past. Maybe you had a trauma in your past, or multiple traumas, or abuse, or something terrible happened to you. And you're still caught up in that emotional cesspool of anger and resentment and all these things that are kind of holding you back from moving forward in life. Same thing could be said for something currently happening in your life now. You could be experiencing financial difficulties, or maybe you've lost a family member that you love and you just can't believe it and you can't come to terms with it because it's so painful. There's so many different ingredients of suffering we're talking about. But when I'm suggesting that you accept it, it's really just a nod and acknowledgement that, yes, this is happening, without judgment around it. It's just like, yeah, this is my reality right now. So what happens is when you stop fighting and resisting your reality, you gain a little bit of clarity and you tend to calm down. Your resistance kind of subsides to the situation. So that's something I really want you to think about when you're facing a challenge in your life. What's happening and what do I need to do to make peace with it and just accept that this is happening? Because I have no control over what's happening. I have no control over the traffic on my morning commute. I have no control over the fact that somebody I love is dying or has passed away. I have no control over the fact that something in my past was horrible. And the experience was terrible. I have no control over that. It's already complete and it's already done. So that was the first thing I want you to pay attention to, is maybe taking a look at what's happening that's causing you a lot of resistance and stress and discomfort, and just observe it and go, okay, this is what it is, and accept it. That means you don't say that this is what it is, but inside you're like, and kill somebody. It means you have to actually make peace with the fact that this is happening and there's nothing you can do about it. It could be maybe you find out that your child is gay or born again, or I don't know, anything that creates discomfort for you. Personally, I have no problems with whatever choices people make in their lives, but you might have an emotional trigger towards that outcome. So let's talk about what has to be accepted. What has to be accepted is reality is reality, even if you don't like it. It is what it is. That's number one. Second, by accepting it, that doesn't mean you limit your future or your potential. It means you acknowledge what's happening for your own peace of mind. Third, there's a reason for everything. And whenever you're feeling emotionally triggered or distraught or angry or resistant towards what's happening in your life, that is where the magic happens. That is your trigger to get curious and ask questions around what is going on inside of you. Why am I so angry about this? What is this triggering? What is this feeling or this hook, this emotional hook that's happening for me as I'm facing this situation with my family or my job or my life? What is that emotional hook, and how can I detach myself from it? So get really curious, ask some questions. Why am I so upset about this? Normally it's because we have no control over the situation and it makes us really uncomfortable. Just acknowledge that, okay? And also, even if you have some deeper traumas or things that you're finding are really painful to deal with right now in your life, that doesn't mean your life is over. That doesn't mean you just fold and tap out. You know, we all go through challenges. Nobody's insulated from life struggles. Nobody's insulated from suffering. None of us are. We all go through it. But we all have an opportunity to decide, okay, I'm being faced with this challenge, and how am I going to move forward, and accepting it, and then choosing from a calm and rational and aligned state of mind how we're going to go forward and face it and overcome it. Or we can continue to rail against it and resist it, which creates this pattern of behavior, a negative pattern. You get stuck in these negative loops. And I know so many people who can't seem to break the pattern. Can't break the pattern. They go back and date the same crazy person. They go back to the same addictive behaviors. They go back to the same self-defeating stories. You might be doing that yourself. So if you see yourself in a loop and you keep blaming everyone else for what you're experiencing, you're going to stay in that loop for the rest of your life. I'm here to tell you. You want to change your life, we have to change ourselves. It's an inside job. What's happening in our lives and the stress has nothing to do with anything external to ourselves. When we are aligned and balanced and in harmony with our higher self lineage to source, when we are in complete alignment, you can weather any storm. You become the eye of the hurricane. Things can just be chaotic and crazy around you. But when you are able to bring yourself back to center and really do that inner work of unpacking all of that inner stuff that we've been burying and shoving and masking, medicating, you're able to show up in a much more elevated way and look at things from a different and higher perspective. So that kind of takes me into the next thing, which is when we can accept what's happening in our lives, we can shift and alchemize our emotional state around it and our perspective around it. And then by doing that, we can respond in a different way. And by responding in a different way, we actually can shift the outcomes. I'm going to give you an example of this. Say you have somebody you're really struggling with in your family, and they drive you crazy. And no matter what you do, they're not going to do what you want them to do. It's just not going to happen in your lifetime. We see this with elderly parents who drive us crazy, our kids who drive us crazy, our spouse might drive us crazy, friends, friendships where you feel like you know what's best for the other person and you have all these great ideas and you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to keep self-destructing over here. So frustrating, right? But when you can get to a place of acceptance and be like, all right, this is what it is, and I have no control over this situation. It's almost like I'm asking you to surrender in a way, surrender the stress, surrender the discomfort, and just accept what is. So acknowledging that you have no control over this outcome, as maddening as it is going to set you free to some degree. You're going to calm down. And some of us, myself included, have had to be pushed so hard and gotten so frustrated because basically, despite our best intentions and unconditional love and wanting to fix something or someone, it doesn't happen. And I finally got to the realization that was like, all right, looks like the one thing I control is myself, and that's where I'm going to put all my energy. I used to be such a fixer. Oh, let me fix this problem for you. Let me show up for you. Let me volunteer. Let me be a martyr. Let me do it all. Because I was a people pleaser and a perfectionist and all of those things that pretty much take you down to your knees. Like they just take you down on those behaviors. So I can relate to all of you. If you're in that pattern, I've been there. It's really hard to maintain. So you kind of get to a place where you stop rejecting what's happening and you just accept, this is my reality. When you get to that acceptance, you start to be able to calm down. All of that emotion starts to kind of settle down. You just become a little calmer after working through some of the angst and discomfort of it. It's not saying, yeah, I accept this and I forgive you, or I understand, or I'm okay with it. This has nothing to do with those three things. You don't forgive anybody. You don't need to be okay with it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to extend grace around it. It's just accepting what is. It has nothing to do with the other person, and there should be no judgment around what's happening. It's just like, here we are. Consistent rejection of what your reality is or your situation is going to perpetuate suffering. That's just a fact. Continually railing against something or someone or a circumstance is just going to create suffering for you. So if you want to set yourself free, you're going to have to really sit with this and just be like, okay, this person is going to self-destruct, or I am going to sit in traffic every morning for an hour and every evening for an hour. It's purely a reality check, and this is what is. So by releasing and accepting what's happening without judgment, you set yourself free. You get out of that rut you're in. That rut where you're going to keep banging your head against the wall and keep getting knocked out, trying to change these realities and situations. At some point, you have to surrender and accept what's happening. I know a lot of people who are masters at not accepting it, and guess what? They suffer a lot. And the suffering can often cause negative responses. Maybe they're drinking too much. Maybe they're in the pantry eating too much. Maybe they are eating a lot of candy. Whatever it is. Doing too much shopping online. There's all these ways to mask and bury our emotions that are not healthy for us. So if you can get to the place of acceptance and work through some of your emotional discomfort, usually kind of a calmness and centeredness follows. And finally, I want you to, if you can, think about what you can do with all that energy you're putting out in the world, resisting everything you're uncomfortable with. Think about what can happen and what's possible for you if you can bring all that energy back in and shine a light on yourself and maybe address some of the inner things and the inner dialogue that's happening that's creating this discomfort for you, and allow yourself to be set free. You know, it's really powerful. And if you're interested in getting some help doing that, give me a call or go to my website. It's alenialifecoaching.com, and I'll put that in the video below, or you can email me if you'd like to get on my monthly email newsletter just for some inspiration and tips on how to navigate life. Whatever you choose to do or not do, it's up to you. But I wanted to share that message, so I hope you all have a great day. I want you to be kind to yourselves as you navigate life. It can be really challenging, and I love you all. So I'll see you all later. Bye.